Hi, I'm Aaron, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to tear down all the walls to reveal some extremely outrageous, illogical, and even downright brutal tactics to trigger so much love in a man that he will find you to be the most tempting and irresistible woman he's ever come across. And as outrageous as it sounds right now, this will all happen when you activate the secret pleasure centers in his brain. Activating these pleasure centers will trigger off bombs of absolute delight within any man's mind, body, and soul, and will push any man to experience absolute peak levels of love and attraction for you. This process is so damn powerful that it will cement you so deeply in his mind that he will find himself floating in a never-ending stream of joy at the very thought of you. This will give you the power to make any man feel such an intensity of love for you that it will appear to be beyond the boundaries of sanity. But before I go any further, I must give you an extreme warning, so please listen to this very, very carefully. As you watch this short presentation, you will experience a variety of feelings, some really good and some a little bad. You will hear things that will absolutely thrill you to bits, and you will also hear things which will shock your senses a little. Honestly, what I've revealed in this presentation is really weird, strange, and extremely controversial. Honestly, this could really piss off a lot of men. Therefore, I don't know how long I can keep this online. Therefore, you must watch this right now, and at this very moment, because if you leave this page and come back later, this video might not be online anymore. Okay, now that I have your complete attention, I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine being able to create an intoxicating feeling within any man's mind, which will force him to feel mad urges to do loving things for you over and over again. An urge so intense that any man will almost beg you to take advantage of him and will feel absolutely amazing in the process. In fact, let me tell you something even more amazing. The same man who once found you to be plain, boring, and even unattractive or ugly will now find you to be an exceptionally beautiful, super smart, and irresistibly sexy woman who he only ever thought could exist in his dreams. The same man who used to find his mind congested with intense doubts and fears at the very idea of commitment will now feel such monstrous proportions of desire for you that he will not only want to marry you, but will literally wish to trap you and keep you close to him for as long as possible. He will find himself needing to have a lot more of you than ever before. I can bet that your eyes will widen with a shocking sense of astonishment when the same man who once treated you like dirt and broke up with you for someone else will suddenly find himself filled with a painful level of guilt and frustration for ever letting you go. You must be thinking that this sounds a little bizarre. Yes, I shamelessly admit this does sound a little over the top right now. But if you stay till the very end of this presentation and follow the advice I'll share, you will find yourself enjoying an almost unfair power over men and will be able to make any man feel practically wired to you. And this process is so darn easy that you will cringe on the inside for not having discovered this earlier. Now, you must be thinking, all right, I've heard enough. How can you be so confident that what you're talking about actually works? And if it does, what is it? Not only am I going to give you solid proof that this stuff works ridiculously well, but I'll show you exactly how to do it within this very presentation. First, I need to officially introduce myself. My name is Aaron Fox, and I'm a relationship expert. But don't you dare confuse me for your usual relationship expert, because I'm the relationship expert who excels at turning almost impossible dating and relationship situations around. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Before that, let me tell you a really crazy story, a story which made my mind literally spin with shock and bewilderment. It's a story about my good friend James. I'll give you a bit of background on him. James is one of my really close friends, and we go way back. James is the kind of guy who could work any social group, and this is especially true with the ladies. Other than being really good looking, he always somehow intuitively knew exactly what to say to a woman, which would trigger instant attraction. In fact, he was so good that even when he had a girlfriend or was in a committed relationship, he always had a huge waiting list of women eager to date him. But he had a very strong belief system when it came to love. He always used to say that love doesn't exist, and it's all only about infatuation and attraction. The sad part was that he didn't just say things like that, he actually believed it too, which is why most of his relationships were rather short. In fact, he believed there was no woman out there who could make him fall for her. I know it sounds cocky and even a bit ridiculous when you think about it, but that was his reality. However, it was all going to come crashing down. I still remember it very vividly. It was a cold Sunday evening, and I was preparing for bed when suddenly my phone rang. I saw James's name flashing across the screen. Why's James calling at this time, I wondered. With a little bit of confusion, I picked up and said, "Hello, are you at home?" said James in a very restless tone. Now, the tension started mounting. I instantly sensed something was wrong. In a confused tone, I replied, "Yes." He quickly replied, "Good, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Before I could even utter a single word, he hung up. What was that all about? I questioned myself. Feeling a crazy mixture of hope and fear, I eagerly awaited James's arrival when suddenly I heard a knock on the door. The moment I opened the door, I saw James like I had never seen him before. He had tears rolling down his cheeks, and before I could even ask him what's wrong, he walked past me, turned around and said, "I love her, man." That statement alone set alarm bells ringing in my head. "Is this a joke, James?" I asked in a very demanding tone. "No, man, I really love her," he replied convincingly. Over the next few hours, he told me everything. He explained how he recently met this wonderful woman named Jane, who literally blew him away. He explained how this woman's presence alone makes goosebumps explode up and down his skin. I honestly didn't know whether to be worried or mad, or actually feel happy for him. I thought to myself, wait a minute, is this the same James I knew? Is this even the same guy? What happened to the old, "I'll never have to chase women like this. I will never fall in love with a woman" attitude? The man in front of me had shifted 180 degrees, and he was just no longer the same person I'd known for years. To make things worse, he told me that he had chased Jane around like crazy, and after a lot of hard work, she said maybe to him. But that was nothing, because then he said the most shocking thing. I mean, the conversation became extremely ridiculous. He started to detail how he moved cities just to be with this woman and quit his 6-figure income job to work at a place that paid 1/8 this amount, just so he could be with Jane. At this point, I was about to officially declare that he's gone crazy. But with a lot of emotion, he again murmured, "I love her, man. Please help me." Since he knew that I was a relationship expert, he came to seek my advice on what to do next. He really wanted this woman to like him, and not just like him. He actually wanted her as a girlfriend and probably a future wife. Eager to know who this special woman was, I asked James if he would introduce me to her. He instantly agreed and said he's going out with Jane and a bunch of her friends next week and invited me to join. My whole body was filled with eagerness to meet this woman. I assumed that this woman must be a real catch. After all, why would a guy like James chase after a woman with this much passion unless she is that one of a kind? I was supposed to meet James at a restaurant, and just as I entered, I saw James sitting on a table with a bunch of women. He saw me walk in and waved. As I was walking towards his table, he secretly pointed his finger towards Jane to let me know who she was among the rest. The moment I saw her, my eyes went wide as I thought, geez, this girl is okay. I mean, she's pretty, but nothing like the women James dated in the past. Jane was around 5 feet 3 inches tall at best, and was a little on the chubby side. Well, James is 6 feet 2 inches tall, and I recalled how he always used to tell me that he will never date any woman who is more than 5 inches shorter than him. Just as I was thinking all this, Jane looked up at me, and her hand was reaching over the table towards me. "I'm Jane. Nice to meet you," she said. Next thing I know, 2 hours had passed in what felt like only 10 minutes. I found myself enthralled to the max, engaging with this woman in one deeply stimulating conversation after another. Needless to say, it only took a few seconds for this woman to impress me, and any idea of what she looked like quickly went out the window. This strange woman had managed to effortlessly capture a few hours of my time, without me even feeling as though any time had really passed at all. And she did it in such a way that I felt completely captivated, so much so that I secretly wished to have her as my girlfriend. But everything aside, an even bigger question was swirling around my head. How is she doing it? I asked myself. I didn't say anything about it then, but I exchanged numbers with her. I ended up texting her later that night, quickly getting to the point, because the urge inside me was killing me. I made it clear that I wasn't trying to offend her, but I asked her to explain exactly how she managed to capture James's heart so convincingly, and I even jokingly asked if she had some secret trick up her sleeve. To my surprise, she didn't deny the fact that she did have a trick up her sleeve, but wanted to know why I was being this curious. I called her on the phone and explained to her the exact reason for my curiosity. I explained to her that since I'm a relationship expert, her insight might help me help other women achieve similar results in their relationships as well. After literally twisting her arm and urging her, she finally gave in and told me all the secrets. What she said next shocked and surprised me more than I could have ever imagined. She told me about the concept of secret pleasure centers in a man's mind and how to activate them. I won't go into all the details, and we'll get straight to the point. After listening to her and doing extreme research on my own, I found out that this technique is backed by proper scientific facts. Here's how it works. Every human being has secret pleasure centers in the brain, which when activated will lead to feelings of extreme euphoria, joy, love, and even addictions. And this is especially true in the case of men. In fact, a strong feeling of compulsion takes over, and a man forgets all logic and compulsively feels a strong need to obtain the very object or person which triggered the pleasure centers in his brain. This is the reason why a man would go completely out of his way to chase a certain woman